Moving on to fourth chapter. Fourth chapter has couple of themes. First beautiful theme is very famous words, everyone knows about it. Mahabharata serial used to start with that. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirvavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam sajamyam. What does it say is, whenever the sin is at the highest level in dharma, then I come in my own form and protect the righteous people and punish the sinners. That's what it essentially means. Paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya dushkritam. So, how does it happen? It doesn't happen all of a sudden that from nowhere it becomes sin at highest level. It's a step-by-step process. If look at example of corruption today. If we are at a certain stage today, let's say this stage, all of a sudden we didn't come at this stage. We were here, then we were here, then we came to this level now, which is sort of an unbearable level. Why did we reach this stage? Is because of following something called herd mentality. So, first theme from chapter 4 is never follow the herd mentality. Let me explain you herd mentality. What do I mean by herd mentality? Herd mentality is, consider an office where one or two people are corrupt initially. So everyone looks at corrupt people. Someday they will come in jazzy bike, then the other day they will come in car, they will come with flashy gadgets. Then they will get negative influence, they will also get corrupt. So herd mentality is, especially, herd is always driven by greed and fear. Herd is not spring. Spring follow the natural course. But herd is always driven by greed and fear. So when people follow the herd, this is what, I am only person who is trying to be honest. Everyone is corrupt, and because of not being flexible, I am getting hurt every day. I am cornered every time. I am thrown into distant places. I am transferred here and there. Let's take little bit. So that's how we reached from this level to this level in corruption today. It didn't happen all of a sudden. It's just because negative influence is far easier than positive influence. You will find if there are 10 kids, 2 kids go to temple and 2 kids go to a bar, you will find most of the other kids follow the kids who are going to bar. Following the positive side is difficult. Negativity is always herd mentality. So never follow the herd mentality. Now apply it at our place of work. If it is my particular project, my particular group, everyone comes late in office, so I also come late in office. And one fine day everyone gets punished, I also get punished. So I can say that no, I am not like that, because since everyone is coming late, so I am also coming late. So when it is something wrong, no matter what is the justification, but you cannot follow the herd. If it is something wrong, you have to say, distance yourself from it. That's the only way. Nirashir yata chittatma takta sarva parigraha. You have to become very neutral, very udasin to such situations. Herd mentality is to be avoided and try to become a stable person. That's the first theme of chapter 4. That sins do not accumulate to higher level one fine day where everyone wakes up in morning and say everyone becomes corrupt. It's very, very progressive movement. Everyone gets negative influenced following the people who are moving in wrong direction, and then suddenly it reaches a point where entire society is corrupt. So you have to stand up and say, I do not follow the negative side. I follow my own positive side. That's first theme. Second theme is, chapter 4 talks about lot of sacrifices. Dravya yagya, tapo yagya, yoga yagya, tatha pare, swadhyaya jnana yagya. So there are people who do sacrifices in terms of material sacrifices, sacrifice in terms of knowledge, jnana yagya, sacrifice in terms of yoga yagya, which is science of yoga. So there are so many types of sacrifices. It's to reach any particular level, you have to continue. Continuity is critical. So that's the second theme of chapter 4, where so many different ways of sacrifices are explained. But any way of sacrifices, if you follow to certain extent and then drop it, will not yield any result. Let's look at science of yoga, which considers of 8 elements: yam, niyam, asana, pranayam, pratyahara, dhyana, dhyan, samadhi. So samadhi is the highest state, where it's like taking you to the depth of the ocean, where superficially there might be waves, there might be storms outside or outwardly, but deep inside, a yogi is always calm. It takes you to the depth. So there is this person who goes to for a job on a ship. So he goes for an interview. So the interviewer asks him, "What would you do if there is a storm?" He said, "I'll drop an anchor." The interviewer asks, "What will you do if there is another job?" He said, "I'll drop another anchor." Like that he kept asking me. He says, "What if there is a 8th storm?" He'll say, "I'll drop the 8th anchor." So the interviewer asked him, "Where are you getting all these anchors from?" He says, "Same place where you are getting all these storms from." So it's like problem and solution remains together. So with Ashtanga Yoga, yoga of 8 elements, which we discussed, body, mind, soul. For body, with 8 elements, yam, niyam, asana, pranayam, pratyahara, dhana, dhyan, samadhi. When 8th anchor is dropped, there is nothing that can rock your boat. It can face any heavy storm. That's why science of yoga. That's also one of the way of sacrifice. Dravya yagya, yoga yagya, jnana yagya. So this is different paths of yoga, but whichever path you pick up, continuity is very, very critical. If you drop something in life, see, sometimes people have to devote multiple lives to reach certain level. It's not one life is not sufficient. For liberation, there are multiple lives required. So to explain this point, there is a story about one old monk who was praying under a tree, doing deep tapasya. So Narad Muni was going nearby. So old Muni realized Narad Muni is here, so he opened his eyes and he says, "Narad Muni, you must be going to heaven. Please ask Lord, how much time do I need for liberation?" He said, "Sure." As Narad Muni was going by, he saw another young monk dancing under a tree and deeply in devotion. He stopped and asked, "Do you also want to check about your status?" So young monk was never worried, he never bothered, he never asked anything. So after few weeks, Narad Muni came back. So old monk asked Narad Muni, "So what did God say about me?" So Narad Muni said, "3 more lives." So old monk got very angry, he threw his mala, he went berserk, he said, "What is this? This is unfair, God is unfair, it is injustice. I have been doing severe austerities for past 3 births, I should have been liberated in this birth only. It's totally unfair." And he was totally mad. Narad Muni went on and then stopped near the young monk also. Then he said, "Though you didn't ask, but I still checked about your status with God." And he said, "You'll have to take same number of birds as the leaves in the tree under which you are dancing." So he started dancing again. So Narad Muni was shocked. What happened? He says, "Just one tree. Earth has so many trees. I have to just take birds of the leaves on one tree only." He was in deep ecstasy. And that moment, the true piousness of that young monk got reflected and he got liberated right at that moment. So, coming back to continuity, it's a sometimes attempt of multiple birds to get liberated. So even if we don't believe about multiple births and let's focus this life itself, at least we need to reach a point where You have to say, yes, logically I conclude that this works or this doesn't work. So continuity to that extent is required. And all the ways work, it is only how you commit yourself. There are great examples of people following philosophy of yoga and reaching the top. There are great examples of devotees, devotional yoga, Mirabai, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There are so many examples. There are great examples of people following science of yoga, just realizing all the siddhis through yam, niyam, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dhyana, samadhi. So whichever path you follow, every path requires decades of practice. And it is very critical to take it, and continuity is very, very critical. There is a story about one Zen monk who was in final stages of his enlightenment. So his master said, you have to go to new master for 1 more month. He was very excited. He said, you are almost there, but just 1 more month. So he went to the new master, who was, to his shock, a caretaker in a hotel. He was very angry with his master that why did my master send me to a monk, to a new master who is just a caretaker. He somehow passed 1 month. All he observed was every evening, it was off season, so every evening the new master will mop the floor, clean the utensils, and every morning he will do the same thing. Somehow he passed 1 month and went back to his master. So he went back and naturally expressed his anger that I thought I wasted my 1 month there entirely. So his master asked, what did you observe? He said, what was there to observe? Every evening he will clean utensils, mop the floor, every morning he will do the same thing. His master said, that's the observation. That in night, when nothing happens, still dust settles. Same thing with our body also. Continuity is very critical. When any moment of time that passes by, dust keeps settling. And just like you brush your teeth for visible impurities, the inside of the body also has to be cleaned through yoga. If you are following philosophy of yoga, same level of swadhyaya is required every day, little bit, sometime, so that you connect all the dots together for complete nirvana. Continuity is very critical. Third theme in chapter 4 is Nahi jnanena sadasham pavitram iha vidyate tat swayam yoga sansiddhi kalin atmani vidyate. This is about knowledge management. So there is nothing in this world which can purify you like knowledge. Knowledge is the greatest purifier. But why I say knowledge is greatest purifier is, I learned Bhagavad Gita. That's a knowledge. I possess that knowledge now. I learned yoga. I learned all the asanas. I learned all the techniques. That's knowledge I possess today. But if I do not put this knowledge into use on a regular basis, then it's better not to learn anything. Better to be ignorant than to be guilty. It's better to be ignorant. I don't know at all, so I didn't follow. But one will feel very bad if he gets lot of diseases and then he closes his eyes and he thinks, oh, I knew all about yoga, I knew all about these things, but now I never adopted it. So knowing and keeping learning, but the learnings will keep getting added to the being. But if that being doesn't change, then there is no point in learning. There was a philosopher. He was very keen in understanding philosophies of different world, different religions, different races. So he spent considerable amount of time in collecting philosophies from different places, different races. He kept doing it 40-50 years. He made a huge library, but he never read anything. It's just library. And before he could start reading, he collapsed. knowing 100 things in life but not putting one thing effectively to use is poor knowledge management. Knowledge management is you learn only one thing. Like in yoga, yam niyama are there, right? What are 5 yama? Ahimsa, satyam, asteyam, brahmacharyam, aparigraham. These 5 things. So, might not worry about thousands of great, inspiring, motivating thoughts, but just focusing on ahimsa, satyam, asteya, non-violence, truthfulness, non-stealing. Brahmacharya is celibacy, aparigraham is non-possessiveness. So just know 5 things and just follow them sincerely. That itself will liberate you. But knowing hundreds of things and not adopting them and not following it properly is a good try. So always be very choosy in what you learn, what you read. We are living in a world, and especially more so with people who have internet and internet connection and laptop computers at home, that they keep downloading all the files. Tuck, everything downloaded. Okay, this topic, entire repository will get created, and suddenly after a few months hard disk is full. Where is this space? Then you will realize that out of so much information you have downloaded, only 10% you have read. Rest stayed on the hard disk. So very, very important is that one is you manage knowledge properly, but learn only that is required. Don't waste energy on everything else. So many things are there in life. So in this place itself there were 3 sessions today. So you have so many choices. But just stay focused. Vyavasayatmika buddhi eke kuru nandana. Bahushaka hanantascha buddhe vyavasayana. One who is single pointed in path of spirituality achieves. If you keep moving in different directions, you are like rolling stone. It doesn't know where it will land up. So knowledge management is very critical.